So in this one, we're going to look at Cosmo's defense of Solo. I'm going to do some defenses of my own, but Cosmo's kind of interesting because he really stuck his neck out here. And he's going to give it an 8 out of 10. He's extremely praiseworthy of almost all aspects: the acting, characters, plot, script. Yeah, the script. He actually thinks the script is pretty good. Thinks of it as pretty good Star Wars, in fact, one of the best. I myself am more lukewarm. I'm not going to give my whole detailed analysis of Solo here, so we're going to hear him. He's going to condense his remarks. I'm just going to add a few things. He really thought Chewbacca was well done. I'd agree on that point. But he also thought the villains were very memorable. I don't remember them being very memorable at all. So we're going to have some points of agreement, but also points of contention. So we're going to listen to him basically sum up his case for why Solo has been sort of overlooked by most
This
fans.
movie's pretty fast-paced. You get the fun action set pieces, the weird giant monsters, chase scenes. You get everything. There's also stuff that I didn't expect to like as much as I did, like the gambling scenes, for instance. They're really well edited for some reason, and I found them to be the most fun scenes in the whole movie. The train scene feels like something out of Firefly. The mining facility shootout lets us see all the characters acting together. You know how when Obi-Wan's talking about his past with Darth Vader, and you can't really enjoy that scene without thinking about this? Now whenever Han mentions the Kessel Run, you're not going to think about a stupid, pointless scene. You're going to think about something that was actually pretty cool to watch. Another thing people aren't really talking about is how good the soundtrack is. I mean, listen to this. However, this movie does have some annoying, stupid shit that a lot of people are gonna find issues with. Now, for the most part, the fan service is not as annoying as it was in Rogue One, but there are a few times when it can actually really bug you. It kind of depends on the person, though. I found that most people really don't like the scene in the beginning. It has to do with Han Solo's last name. You'll know the one I'm talking about. In my opinion, this is one of the very few distractingly stupid moments in the movie. I found most of the other fan service to be pretty classy, if we're being honest.
Well, we'll get to the Han name because that's probably the easiest place where almost there's universal agreement that it was pretty terrible. And I want to do just minor spoilers. I don't want to spoil it for people who have not seen it because we got to be honest, a lot of people have not seen it. But essentially that Han is named by an Imperial. Now my issue with that would be, wait, if he's got this official name of Han Solo, wouldn't he use another name as an alias? Otherwise he'd be in the official records as Han Solo. So that felt funny to me. So it was just more the logical issue. Because I know people might be misled to thinking, well, I'm attacking Maul, or I don't think plot issues matter at all. I think they have to be, contextualized. That's my only issue is, but if you want to be raging over plot points, it's fine as long as the plot points are important. And I think an official name is kind of important if you're a smuggler. To me, it would be important. Now, in terms of these, unmotivated attacks on fan service, I don't know. I thought for what it was, Rogue One and The Last Jedi were fine. They spread it out. There's a lot of prequel stuff, original trilogy stuff as well. And I thought it was pretty balanced. I mean, what do we get? We get Organa. We get Vader. We get some of the early Resistance. I don't think it went too far. Maybe I missed things. Yeah, there was a lot of AT-ATs, as Red Letter Media reminds us, but yeah, I didn't think it went overboard. But now in terms of Solo proper, I gotta say, this is the thing with Cosmo, because some people compared me to him. I don't see the strict comparison precisely. I guess in terms of being critical of me, it's like, well, you're being very selective on certain issues. By the way, those people are positive. They say, okay, on those issues you proved your case, but you're ignoring other things, and so you're kind of giving us a skewed case. I don't think I am. I think I'm presenting it for the most part on both sides. But I would say where he sneaks in that kind of attack on the prequels, I get what people are saying because his prequel stuff, which I'm not going to address here, but one of the major things I kept finding and I was frustrated by is he's not paying attention. Now, I get it. His whole thing is they're boring. They're very, very boring. I don't care about these films, etc., etc. But he misses a lot of critical details, again, when he's not engaged. But here with Solo, he's bringing a lot up, like the music, the editing in the card games. I will have to admit, I didn't particularly notice, or it's not coming back to me at all. And I've seen it at least twice, and I didn't want to. Because in earlier part of his own video, he's like, it's a real chore for him to go back to The Last Jedi or Rogue One. But with Solo, he just likes going back to it. And for me, it's the complete opposite. It was a real slog to even give it another chance. I did like the beginning. I thought that was very energetic. The sets were really well done. So it seemed like, maybe I misremembered. It had great promise, but it was sort of still what I more or less felt the first time. It was like, this thing had a lot of promise and had a good moments here and there, but overall, it was just kind of like a meh experience. I'd say it's more disappointing. It's not terrible, but I did find it I found it boring. Whereas with the prequels, I can keep finding new things, or with the sequel trilogy, even Rise of Skywalker, which I'm not a fan of, I can find new aspects. With Solo, I find it much harder. So I think that's the thing we're emphasizing here. It is a very individualized response, and I'll be very thankful if I miss those aspects. But I have to say, honestly, like for me anyway, the music fell flat, the characters fell flat, except for Chewbacca. Acting didn't really stand out. Again, a lot of what he praises, I was like, really? Yeah, I thought this was one of the worst edited Star Wars films. Even worse than probably Rise of Skywalker. Probably one of the worst edited I've ever seen of all time. There were just certain scenes that had no continuity. Like the train scene has major plot holes with how characters act. And I mean, people just literally just disappear and nobody cares. They just never refer back to it. It's sort of like, wait, did that even happen? You're very head scratching. I guess his thing is that, and this is also with Red Letter Media, well, this isn't bogged down with the Force or Sith mythology, and that was very liberating, and I agree with them, but it seems to me they didn't really take advantage of that. It's like, okay, now you have an open canvas, and they just kind of diminished the character. They just had him do a lot of adventures really in a short amount of time. The only thing really missing from Solo is Jabba the Hutt. If they had done that, we pretty much would have gotten everything we need to know about Han Solo, and that just, to me, it just ended up making him feel like a much smaller character, and he praises Alden a lot. I'm going to be Alden neutral. It just didn't work for me. But again, you're comparing him to Harrison Ford, so it's never going to be a fair fight. I will say this, though, by looking at these more positive cases for Solo, and I'll be honest, I enjoyed the negative cases much more. Not just with Mauler, but with Jenny and Quentin. I think they made their case pretty strong. But it does make you think that basically this was supposed to be Solo Begins. And who knows, maybe if we gave it a chance and supported it, we might have gotten the Dark Knight and the other chapter, and we'll never know. So I'm not a Solo 2 supporter, but I do support the movement to give it another chance. I don't think they should do a sequel to this, but I would be willing to give it another chance. The probability of Ron Howard doing it is small, but I do think Ron deserves another chance, because it's just terrible. It's really terrible. He really wanted to do a great Star Wars film, and he got saddled with probably one of the worst ones in terms of production problems, and it was just a real tragedy. I don't think that's what he means his legacy to be in Star Wars. So it's really, really, really sad. All right, this has been Cosmo's positive case for Solo in our In Defense of Solo series. Thank you for listening. If you like the content, please hit the like button and/or subscribe. Please comment below. That helps the channel. Please consider supporting the work on Patreon. Have a good day.